Yo, what's up everyone? It's me, Mr. Premps. And today I want to take a look at Zoro, his journey so far in Wano, and what I think the things are we don't necessarily need, but I think we should get before the end of Wano. But before I get started, we have the usual formalities. So if it's your first time here, or if you're returning to the channel, make sure you subscribe as it means a lot to me. And if you like anything I have to say in this video, then make sure you leave a thumbs up as it helps me out so much with that YouTube algorithm. And lastly, make sure you check out the Void Century Club forum, in which I'll leave a link to in the description to this video. But now that these formalities are out of the way, let's get into it. So as of One Piece Manga Chapter 1022, Zoro is now free and fighting alongside Sanji against King and Queen. And depending on when I release this video, which might actually be after One Piece Chapter 1023, we might find out a few more things that have happened in the battle. Now apologies to all the Zoro kills Kaido stans, because I was never a part of that clan. But yes, I do believe Zoro to have already achieved great success in Wano, and I am very proud of him in doing so. One of my expectations coming into Wano was for Zoro to have a power up. And with the addition of Enma, I thought, what else could Zoro get? Because that felt a little bit like a cheap cop out to me. Or should I say, it felt like a bit of a cheap cop out to me at the time. And just for the record, I don't feel like that now. But would coming to Wano and Zoro only getting Enma be enough for us? I don't think it would. Well, for myself anyways. But Zoro has done so much more. He's managed to very briefly block the attacks of 2 Yonko, and with his captain down, he did the unthinkable and done what we are led to believe only one person has done in the story, and that's scar Kaido. But even that wasn't enough, because Oda took things a step further, and he had Kaido reveal to us that Zoro has Conqueror's Haki, even though it's evident that he's only using this unconsciously and only when using Ashura. So you're probably asking me, oh Mr. Premps, what more do you need from Zoro? And to be honest, fighting wise, I'd say he's done all that he needs to do, except defeat King. But really, what I'm interested in is finding a little bit more about his lineage. Whenever talking about Zoro and his lineage, I always end up bringing up SBS 96, which actually explains that Kuina's grandfather was Kozaburo, who was actually from Wano, and he was the man that forged 2 of the 21 great swords in Enma and Wado Ichimonji. And Zoro actually learned the word snatch whilst overhearing him train. But all the ties that Zoro has to Wano just appeared too good to be true, and I don't believe it's been touched on enough, or even touched on in the story. I feel as if Oda needs to introduce another character to us that could potentially draw resemblance to the SHIMOTSUKI tribe and potentially Zoro's ancestry. Could we find out why he grew up in SHIMOTSUKI village in the East Blue? I mean, we already know that the village was saved by Kozaburo, but could Zoro's family have been part of the same clan? Could something have happened that caused them to leave Wano and not speak of it to Zoro? Who knows? But it's definitely an area I think can be expanded on by Oda, in a similar way that we got Sanji's backstory, which put everything into perspective. Outside of this, I know there's some theories out there of many believing that Zoro will turn Enma black, and in turn raise the grade of the sword. However, I've said this before and I'll say this again. I don't necessarily believe that the sword he turns black will be Enma, but more so be Wado Ichimonji. And I link it to the dreams of the Straw Hats and the will of the sword. People talk about the breath of all things and all of these nuances in One Piece. And I am a believer that everything is living, or as we've all heard so many times, the breath of all things. And this is no different for Zoro's swords. Wado Ichimonji, being Kuina's sword, is the only sword that Zoro has had from the start of his journey with no issue. No nicks or inclination of it getting lost. This sword has strong ties to Wano, being a part of the SHIMOTSUKI clan, in which I too definitely believe Zoro has ties to. And then the sword being present for Zoro's vow to Kuina to become the world's greatest swordsman. Wado Ichimonji has accompanied Zoro on all of his experiences, and I am sure that this will have a major part in a sword turning black. And to be honest, I'm not so sure this is going to happen in Wano. Zoro has just unlocked Conqueror's Haki, and if I go by the theories from other YouTubers who think that Conqueror's Haki might have something to do with Zoro turning his swords black, I'm not so sure that to be the case. But I can definitely see the argument of that, since Mihawk did say that every blade could be turned into a black blade. And if that were the case, then Mihawk would possess Conqueror's Haki too, and that would have been how he's done it. But I think that's something for a bit later in the story. The last thing I want to put some emphasis on is seeing Zoro defeating King. As mentioned, I absolutely loved what Zoro did on the rooftop, but my expectation was always for him to defeat King in a one-on-one battle. With Zoro's aim to become the world's strongest swordsman, and King possessing considerable swordsmanship, I would expect them to at least have a sword fight of some sort of nature. Now of course I am aware that King the Wildfire is from some mysterious race which is likely to be extinct, and he probably has a lot more hidden strengths. However, I do just want to see a full-on fight between two swordsmen, as I don't actually think we've got to see enough of that in the story. I mean, to be fair, we actually have, if you want to talk about Zoro against Hachi, or better yet against Daz Bones, or some may call him Mr. One. Or you could even suggest that he had a good sword fight against Kaku of CP9 at Eni's lobby. But there seems to be a general theme of all of these battles seeming to have occurred pre-time skip. And unfortunately to us as readers, we have almost been robbed of seeing Zoro's elevation to becoming the world's greatest or strongest swordsman by going through the ranks, because it does feel like he's just skipped a few stages and not gone through the ranks as normal. I do think Oda has missed the trick of not actually showing us who is actually currently challenging Mihawk for that title, such as having a top 5 swordsman, and us finding out mini stories in between, such as King having defeated Vistar to now become the, let's say, number 3 spot, or something along those lines. But without digressing too much, I guess what I'm really trying to get down to here is that I just think that we need a Zoro vs King in a proper sword fight. However, it seems that this could be unlikely to happen, but who knows. I know there's a lot to come in the story, and as we go through One Piece Manga Chapter 1023 and then Manga Chapter 1024, I think a lot more will be unveiled. But I guess that just about does it from me. The real purpose of this video is to really just hone in on Zoro's journey on Wano, and although it feels like this could be a fan-made expectation, from the moment Wano was mentioned and Zoro spoke on gathering up all the samurai to defeat Kaido, which I must highlight he didn't do, I think most of us expected Wano to be completely Zoro's arc, and we've definitely had some extreme highs. We've got his takeaway, which is Enma, and that would be my expectation as long as he does keep it. And that would feel quite similar in parallel like Sanji's raid suit takeaway from Whole Cake Island. So I think it's only right we get the other parallel of Zoro's backstory, just like we got Sanji's whilst we were in Whole Cake. And I think that would definitely make this a successful arc for Zoro. But let me know your thoughts. What are your expectations of Zoro and Wano? And do you think we will get them? Also, do you think Zoro is related to the SHIMOTSUKI tribe? Let me know down in the comments. And as always, if you like anything I've had to say, please make sure you leave a like on the video, as it tells me that I'm doing something right and producing content that you do like. And if you would like to see more content like this, then make sure you subscribe to the channel so you never miss out when I drop more content just like this. Say